when I say the Irish government is the most repressive, you had mandatory hotel quarantine for over 70 countries. You still have mandatory hotel quarantine for a number of countries. Take a couple of examples. The US, if I look at the data that the UK has provided in that 6-week period that I talked about, the positivity rate, the number of people traveling into the UK from the US was 0.7%. 34 people tested positive for coronavirus. 34 people, 99% plus had no virus at all, yet you're locking them up in hotels. That's repressive. France, 32 people traveling from France into the UK tested positive, yet they're being locked up in hotels in Ireland. Nobody traveling into the UK from Belgium tested positive, yet if you travel into Ireland, you're being locked up. And nobody tested positive from Luxembourg. So there's just 4 countries where I give you an example of hard data. So for some reason, the Irish government has decided that these people represent a significant risk to Ireland. I disagree and disagree strongly. And I'm not being paid by Aer Lingus, and haven't been for some time, or indeed by IAG. But I reject the statements that have been made in relation to Aer Lingus, and they will be able to defend themselves. But it's an airline that lost over 360 million euros last year and over 100 million euros in the first quarter of this year. They're not being opportunistic. They're being desperate about the measures that they're taking, as are airlines right across the world, being faced with very, very tough decisions. And, I've been in tough positions before. These are not easy decisions to take. People don't take them lightly. They are looking at the future survival of the airline, and they've got to take decisions that can, at best, guarantee that they can do that. In relation to the US, I think you've raised a very, very important issue. But for Ireland, the most critical issue is to get US people traveling into Ireland. I know it would be great to see Irish people traveling to the US. Now, the US has made clear that they will allow their citizens travel internationally and return to the US without restriction if they've been vaccinated. So straight away, you could approve that tomorrow. But what Ireland is saying is, if you're vaccinated and you travel from the US into Ireland, you're going to have to pay over 1,800 euros, and we're going to lock you up in a hotel for 12 days, escort you there, your courtesy of the Irish Army, and make sure you don't leave.
Mr. Walsh,
that's
tomorrow,
repressive.
you want quarantine lifted.